I think this is where we're supposed to go.
Yeah, the directions weren't really clear. This kind of looks like a studio.
It's really dusty and I don't think they took out the trash before they got carted away.
Do they ever?
No, the answer would be no. Well, I guess we're here, and Dan at least did give me some direction, but honestly, I don't know about this, and I've kind of not been on a comics kick for a while, so maybe we should just talk about, I don't know, wrestling?
I would love that. Wrestling, I've been super into it recently.
I know we've bonded about that, and I would very much love for this entire hour episode to just be talking about the Shield and, you know, everything that we've both kind of gotten to love. But we could easily carry an hour or more of that. Oh, absolutely, and I think everyone would find it as a nice, refreshing, treat. But I have a feeling that once Dan gets out, he might not be too happy with that.
Yeah.
All right, so let me see here. I'm gonna dust this off. Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh. So I guess we need to talk about the show?
I guess so. All right, let's do this. Hello, and welcome to Supersons. I guess it's not my normal podcast, which I'd be introducing you to the young ones, but I'm Charlie.
Hello, I'm Vishal. I don't usually do podcasts, but I'm here, apparently.
We've gone through temporal space-time, as the show has taught me much about, to bring you this podcast. Yeah, Dan and Jake are indisposed, so you will be hearing from me and Vishal for this lovely interim amount of time that this could possibly take. But yeah, if you don't know much about me, my name is Charlie Davis. I do host a podcast called The Young Ones, all about teen superhero teams and why me, my partner, and our friend Reed love them. That takes its direction sometimes from talking about teen comics to teen superhero TV shows to sometimes talking about things like wrestling and other properties that we just want to talk about. I'm a comic critic. I shitpost about a tremendous amount of things, but that's my deal. Right now, Vishal and I do belong to a group of individuals who are writing all about the Dawn of X books.
Yeah, I'm writing about Marauders with Christy Edelman. It's been great, and I think Charlie is writing about Excalibur with Nola Pfau.
Very much so, and both of those books have been excellent. So that's kind of where we're at. I don't know if this hour, 43 minutes without commercials, is quite as excellent.
Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow it's interesting, I think.
So because I'm kind of new to this, my only exposure to the DC universe really is the cartoons. So Justice League Unlimited, I've watched a fair amount of Batman and Batman Beyond. Those were kind of my like kids WB like staple television when I was growing up. But I don't read DC Comics. I don't do a whole lot there. So what is your relationship to DC Comics?
Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite. I'm from a little bit later in life, so I started with the Teen Titans TV show, and I watched commercials for Static Shock, and that was basically it until, like, high school when I started reading comics, and now I'm, like, really, really into the comics to an unhealthy degree. So I can help you out there, probably.
Thank you. I'll need it. I have a type and I usually just find that type of character and then follow them through media. So I love X-Men comics. Like, I'm a Marvel person, like, through and through, but I love the niche characters most of all. Don't get a lot of play, I guess. If I'm thinking about it correctly, some of these characters that appear in this TV show maybe aren't necessarily A-listers. Would that be right to assume?
Yeah, most of them aren't very popular, and I was surprised they got adapted to begin with.
And because I the only CW show I've ever consumed on a weekly basis at any point in time is Supernatural. Is this still going on the CW?
I'm not sure. I'm not currently following it, but I think it is, because there's the big crossover with, like, Arrow and Flash later this year.
Okay. Well, you really have to give it up to the CW. They kind of know what their market is, and they'll just stick with it no matter what.
Yeah.
So you were telling me that you watched the first season of this and then kind of just noped out.
Yeah, see, the problem is the first season focused the most on the two characters who I don't know that anyone really liked in this show, Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Their whole thing was not great.
Yeah, I was picking that up while I was watching, and it's just, overwrought is definitely a word I would use, but
yeah, that's about right.
I'm not sure where those fans of those characters are. Like, I know where I live, and I know where people sit in that spectrum, but I look at things and I'm like, is there someone out there that's, like, really into this? And I think maybe there is. I don't know them, nor do I want to be seen by them, but that's just me. But apparently Hawkman wasn't always bad, so maybe you could tell me about the not bad Hawkman.
Yeah, so Hawkman's a really weird character. Like, comics are usually confusing, but Hawkman's a special case because there's two separate Hawkmans, and they're not exactly connected, and there's also two separate Hawkgirls, maybe three. It's a whole mess. So basically, there's these Egyptian people, like the ones in the show, Prince Khufu and Princess Shiera, I think. And they're the ones that reincarnate all the time, and they're not very interesting. The most interesting part is that Hawkman's an archaeologist, but instead they kind of just write him as an angry guy that's not fun to read.
Oh, an angry guy that is, like, in love with his soulmate that doesn't remember who he is or cares, but he insists that she does. Not great, though.
Yeah. Now, there's a good Hawkman, and he's an alien from a planet called Thanagar, and he was a cop, and then it turns out the cops weren't good, so he rebelled and changed the system, and then came to Earth, and he's really cool, but also DC forgets about him a lot, and it makes me sad.
Oh, that's the Hawkman from, like, the Justice League Unlimited cartoon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense, because I'm just like, what is this, like, reincarnation situation? Because I don't remember that at all, but it's weird that you would go with the more confusing thing that people seem to not enjoy over, like, the cool thing that some people do enjoy, but I don't know, and I don't market comic books, so I don't know how that works.
Yeah. Although I will say Space Hawkman also gets really confusing because it's revealed that his father a long time ago went to Earth and was friends with Earth Hawkman, and I feel like we shouldn't get too far into that because it's a big mess.
Probably not. So in this episode, we should talk about the actual episode. Episode, we take it starts in the year 2166. So the far future, as it were, where there's another world war happening, if I caught that correctly.
Yeah, I think they call it the Second Blitz, which is, I guess, trying to bring up World War II comparisons.
Yes, lots of lasers, lots of CGI fire, happening. The bad guy, who apparently rules the entire world, is named Vandal Savage. Interesting name. I don't have any background on this individual. Would you like to enlighten me?
Yeah, so Vandal Savage is basically an immortal guy who wants to conquer the Earth, and that's pretty much it. He's been around for millennia, keeps trying to conquer the Earth, keeps getting knocked away.
Okay. But he's done it. He's done it this time, apparently.
He's doing it this time. He's like Kang the Conqueror without the time travel.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for putting that in terms I can understand, because no matter how complicated Kang the Conqueror is, at least I know about that. Kang the Conqueror, a.k.a. Immortus, a.k.a. Iron Lad, a.k.a.
There's so much.
whoever the hell else you want to group in there. And then we get treated to a very, very tropey scene where Vandal Savage and his goon squad come upon a child and his mother and murder them mercilessly. And then, yeah.
You know, that's strong opening, apparently.
I guess. But then it turns into Doctor Who? Almost literally?
Yeah, they get the guy who plays Rory from Doctor Who, and he's yelling at a group of people called the Time Masters.
At this point, I was kind of thinking they really are trying to rope in those fans, because they have to be.
Yeah.
Do the Time Masters exist in DC continuity?
Yeah, Rip Hunter is a Time Master from what I can remember. I'm not super familiar with him overall, but that's a thing. I kind of feel like maybe they pulled that one from Doctor Who in some aspect, but who am I to judge? But Rory's here. I'm going to probably call him that for the rest of the time we're talking about this. And he wants to go back and basically stop this all from happening, which is a noble goal. But apparently we don't know this, but we can infer it. He takes his time ship and leaves and says that the council gave him permission, but we can infer that that probably does not actually happen. Yeah, he gives a big impassioned speech and the council stares at him, and then it cuts to him taking his ship, so, like, I feel like there's something going on there. Yeah, maybe they weren't too hip on that one, because you shouldn't mess with the time stream. I mean, every time anything I've ever encountered tells me that. So I'm going to just say they gave a big thumbs down in that type of situation. And then we kind of get a play-by-play of the people who are going to be in our story, of which I only know one of. So would you like to tell us about these individuals? All right, so from the top, he starts with Ray Palmer, the Atom, who was in Arrow for a while as basically Iron Man, but nicer. And then he allegedly died, and then it was revealed he didn't die, he just turned very small. So now he's Ant-Man. Okay, so he's, I know, this is something I noticed. It was the man who once played Superman playing Ant-Man and Iron Man at the same time. So Brandon Routh has got, like, some sort of trifecta going on here with this character. Yeah. Yeah, and Rip just, like, recruits him, I guess, which is how the rest of all of these scenes go. He just kind of recruits everyone. By shooting them with light and, like, a kind of, like, a vaguely, like, Men in Black type of situation. It's like, oh, hi, bye, like, type of scene. Yeah, it's weird. Next is Sarah Lance, who is an Arrow character. And, oh, man, she was the sister of Oliver's girlfriend, who he was cheating on his girlfriend with, and then she was thought dead for a while, and then she came back, and now she's, like, around? So Arrow was... So Arrow was, sleeping with the sister of his girlfriend. Yeah, before he became Green Arrow, and he was just, you know, the billionaire rich kid, he was sleeping with his sister's girlfriend, and he took her on a cruise, and then the ship got blown up. He thought his girlfriend's sister died, and he was stranded on the island, learned how to shoot a bow, and became the Green Arrow. And then eventually his girlfriend's sister came back and wasn't dead, but she was an assassin.
What? Is the going to an island and learning how to shoot a bow and arrow, like, canonical to the Green Arrow's backstory?
Yeah, that is his origin.
Okay.
He got stranded on an island and learned to survive. They reference it a lot on the show.
Yeah, because I think I'd seen some episodes of Arrow at some point, and, like, he was on an island, and it kind of seemed like Lost, and I'm like, I'm going to turn this off. Okay. She seems like the coolest one out of them all.
Yeah, I really like her. She also ends up being gay because I guess Green Arrow was so bad that she was turned off men entirely, which I'm with.
That's valid. Seems valid to me. Yeah. Stephen Amell's Oliver Queen just don't think does it for me.
Yeah.
And apparently Green Arrow's a really cool character in the comics, so I don't know.
They didn't give him the beard, that's what it is.
There it is. We know that everybody gets stronger when they have a beard.
Yeah. So next on the list is Jefferson Jackson and Martin Stein, who combined to form Firestorm.
Now this one threw me for a loop.
He's very weird. I haven't read very many comics with Firestorm in them, but this is about accurate. Firestorm is two people that combine into one person, but the one person has the body of the stronger one and the mind of the smarter one.
Okay. I'm just going with that one, because this one was a little, I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is what we're doing. It's like, I don't know. I'm leaving that one alone.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm not the biggest fan, but let's go on to the characters I like less than that. Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Which
we talked about slightly, and as soon as I saw them, I knew who they were. They have very, very bad CGI wings, even though their costumes aren't terrible. But they just seem, he is, I don't know about him. I can't tell if, like, they picked someone they thought was going to be attractive for the role, but then, like, kind of missed the mark on that one. But I'm not into it. Like, if he was easier on the eyes, maybe I'd feel a little bit different about it, but it's not.
Yeah, the guy's got no charisma, so when he's talking to this woman and saying, in a previous life, I loved you, it just comes out real weird and creepy and not at all romantic.
Nope, not at all. She's not, like, I can see her being interesting, like, just, like, the way that they set it up, like, at least her character or what she's capable of being, but she's, like, drugged down by him 100% of the time.
That's definitely the case. And they don't do much. He recruits them. Kendra mentions that she was a barista 2 months ago, which is a very recurring thing on this show. She mentions being a barista a lot.
Life-changing.
And the last ones are, for me, they're the best characters on the show. Captain Cold and Heatwave. I love them to death.
They have they are the best characters. Because they have, like they know what they're here for. Like, and I can't really say that for maybe everybody else. Like, they're the ones that seem to embrace that they're in a comic book TV show.
Yeah.
Everybody else, not so much.
Even on The Flash, they're like that, where the show's kind of goofy, but then these two guys come in and they ham it up, and it's really, really fun.
I could tell.
Yeah, apparently they were both on Prison Break, which I haven't seen, but if I was going to watch it, it would be for these two.
That is true. They were both on the show Prison Break, which I can't pinpoint the year that came out, but I definitely recognized Captain Cold as that man from Prison Break. And I knew that Captain Cold was a Flash villain.
Yeah, both of them are Flash villains. They're part of the Rogues, and I think what makes them fun is that they're not evil. They just like stealing stuff, which is great. Yeah. They're like okay to hang out with, but they also love to steal, which, is good. Big fan. And you go ahead.
Oh, and I was just gonna say, and then the erstwhile time master, time guy, Rory from Doctor Who, who's a pretty good actor. I don't know how they got him to do this, but it's a bit of a step down maybe from Doctor Who.
They got a lot of Doctor Who actors. They got Jack Barrowman to play a character on Arrow. John Barrowman?
I knew that. John Barrowman, yeah.
They got
the guy
him.
that plays Jack. That's his Doctor Who name.
Yeah, they got him to play Oliver's best friend's father. They got the woman who plays River Song to play Oliver's girlfriend's mother.
We must have some connections.
Yeah, I think that the CW is a BBC feeder or something like that, or the other way around.
They just share actors. It's like, you want to be in this TV show? Sure. Oh, man. And, they are absconded away by Rip Hunter and are given a proposition and shown the terrible future and told that in that lifetime that they're experiencing, that they're all great heroes and legends, and they need to stop Vandal Savage from taking over the world. So pretty basic plot.
Yeah, although I do have one complaint, which is when one of them was being hesitant, he said, to be legends, we'd have to be dead. And I'm just like, it's 150 years in the future. Of course you're dead.
Yeah, you don't just live forever. That was it's funny. It's like all these people, and then there's the actor Victor Garber playing, and it's like, sir, aren't you a little bit better than this?
Yeah.
Not so sure. And then there's a bunch of hey, if you want to do this, here's my card. Basically, meet me at this location in 36 hours. And then we have a montage, I'd say, of everybody trying to figure out if that's what they want to do or not.
Yeah, so the Atom talks to Green Arrow to just make everyone sure that he first showed up in Arrow.
Yes. And I watched, so slight tangent. Yesterday while I was cooking dinner, I had the TV on in the living room, and I was watching the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film from apparently 2016.
Oh gosh, yeah, I remember that one.
That has Stephen Amell in it as Casey Jones.
Yeah, that was a strange choice.
That's a bad choice. That was a straight up bad choice. And I liked the movie. I didn't actually mind the movie, because the Turtles were actually pretty good. But I didn't even mind Megan Fox as April O'Neil. I didn't mind it. But Casey Jones, not so much, and they probably shouldn't have brought in Krang. Just don't do that. I don't need to see CGI. No. We could have just kept it with Shredder. That's fine. But I just wanted to bring it up because Stephen Amell just has zero charisma to me. Has he ever been good in anything he's ever been in?
I sometimes liked him in Arrow, but a lot of it was that he didn't have charisma. He was really awkward and stoic, and I kind of enjoyed that. But when he's supposed to have charisma, later in Arrow, he runs for mayor, and I could not imagine voting for this guy, even if he had good policies, because I don't like him.
He's just not, he doesn't have a beard, and he's just, he's not, stunningly handsome or anything. You can write you can cut someone a little bit of slack, if they're just nice to look at on the TV. But I don't think it's not there. It's not there.
Oh, I will say a big part of what makes anyone on that show charismatic is when they start doing the salmon ladder. They all get shirtless and they all start doing the salmon ladder, and I don't care who they are, you start paying attention.
You do have a point, and now I'm just remembering that Stephen Amell was on one a episode of Raw once or something.
Yeah, I think he was at a pay-per-view, too. He had a whole thing with, I want to say Cody Rhodes.
You're probably not wrong. That seems like something Cody would be into. Stephen Amell, don't come anywhere near AEW wrestling, please. Please. There's a man there that will actually kill you. Please don't come.
Oh my God.
Please don't come. Please don't come. Or maybe please do come, now that I'm thinking about it.
I would be very excited to see that, honestly.
Yes, I would love to see Mox just take Stephen Amell out.
Oh, that would be very fun.
Permanently. Then he couldn't act in his show anymore, which I guess is ending. Arrow's ending, I guess.
This is the last season of Arrow.
Oh, tears. Just crying. I was crying so many tears.
My high school self is distraught.
I'm sure there are people that love the TV show Arrow. I just don't happen to be one of them.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, but Sarah seems like the best character to me in this montage. But I will have to say, like, she's got the best, like, story, like, of coming back to life and, like, being a different person. Like, that's a really interesting story. But her costume is bad.
Yeah, they make this, like, whole deal of her being the white canary because her sister's the black canary, and that's an original CW thing, and honestly, it shows.
Like, it could be cool, right?
Yeah, I like the idea behind it, but it's just boring, and the suit is so dull.
Oh, it's not even white. It's like it's been sitting, like, in a closet for several years, and then someone decided to put it on. Like, it is, like, dingy white. And maybe it's supposed to be that way, but there are very few people that can get away with, like, grime as an aesthetic, and she's not one of them, in my opinion. No, it's that wasn't working for me, because I liked the scene with her and her sister, and I'm like, oh, that's Black Canary, I think. Like, I'm putting these pieces together, and I'm like, that's cool. I wonder what this suit looks like. Not good.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Does this storyline go anywhere from here? Will you spoil that for me?
I honestly don't remember. Honestly, all I remember of the first season of Arrow is they drop pretty much everything with Sarah so that she can just kind of hit on women all throughout time, and it's very fun, and I like her.
That's good. You know what? I support that 100%.
Yeah. The rest of the characters are not that good right now, though.
No, what I don't support is drugging your friend to take them on a time heist, I guess.
Oh, that's so bad. He's just, like, he says no, and so the old guy just chloroforms him?
I guess. So drinks some mysterious liquid that could be alcohol, and then immediately becomes unconscious, and then they just kidnap him.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's fine. Like, I don't think it's fine, but I guess for the purposes of the show, it's fine. And then they get on this ship, which I thought was a pretty cool ship when I first saw it, but then it's got a horrifying AI face. And I'm just like, then I just became like, I'm like, it couldn't just have like a voice. Like, it had to have a face. Why? Who's making these choices?
Yeah, think about the money they spent on animating that face when it could have gone into costume design.
Oh God, I'm weeping just thinking about it. Its name is Gideon. I don't know. I'm not going to gender the AI. So they just exist in the ship, and instead of it being like a Cortana from Halo situation, it's just a scary face.
Yeah, it exists on the ship and only on the ship, and that's about it. It, like, does all the work, so Rip Hunter just tells it what to do. Yeah.
There's a weird power dynamic there that I don't think I appreciate. And then they go to 1975, which is unclear as to why they're, like, we don't get any mission statement, really. Like, oh, this is, like, how we're gonna stop it, or, like, what we're gonna do. Like, and right away you kind of get the feeling that Rip doesn't really, maybe he doesn't know what's going on, or maybe he's just not sharing it with the rest of the team.
Yeah, he's definitely being cagey and not answering all their questions. And, like, it's a weird dynamic, but it's also deliberate, so I can kind of forgive it.
Mm-hmm. But they go to the 70s, which, okay, I mean, that's a fun era, and they're meant to stop the death of a professor for unknown reasons.
Yeah, they ask Rip how he died, and Rip just says he's found in his office, and no one knows how he died. And I can't... What?
Yeah, that's not a good explanation. That's not how we do things around here. But we do get, obviously, some banter and then back and forth when they finally get there and determine what they're going to do and who's going to go. They leave one half of Firestorm on the ship, and it's just like, okay, you can immediately tell when half of them leave and half of them stay that, like, the other half are going to get into trouble.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. But we do go to the university and find this man who immediately knows what's going on. Like, there's not even like a, oh, what are you doing here? Like, explain, like, you know how some shows would be like, oh, we have to, like, convince this guy to help us or get the information we need. No, he just kind of, like, spills his guts out because...
Yeah, it turns out that this professor guy is Hawkman and Hawkgirl's kid from a prior reincarnation. And, like, they raised him, and then when he was 10 years old, they were killed, and he's been waiting for them to come back ever since, because he knows they reincarnate. But they don't remember him. That's the worst part.
They don't remember him, but immediately upon knowing that they're his parents, start calling him their son.
Which is really weird, because he's, like, 30 years older than them.
Yeah, it's really strange. It's not even like we saw this person as a child, and, like, so we are, like, kind of invested in this relationship. We're not. We're not invested in the relationship whatsoever, except for there's a photo. I guess the black and white photo is supposed to do it. Like, it's not even like a Cable and Cyclops situation where, like, it's funny that, like, someone's much older than Scott calls Scott, like, dad.
Yeah, they try to make it, like, a whole emotional thing, and I'm not sold at all.
No, it's like, you told me to hide in the closet no matter what happened or what I heard to not come out, and I didn't. Okay, well, that's like the story of so many of these things, except for I'm not invested in it. Like, and I'm not invested in these two characters as, like, being partners, because one clearly doesn't really want to be here and do this. And now that she has a son, she's like, oh, I love my son. Like, why?
She's so protective of her brand new son that's so much older than her.
Her brand new old son. And I'm just like... All right, we're supposed to be riding this train, I guess. So now we're here, and he loves his mother and father very much. He's also like, you're so beautiful.
Yeah, that was strange. The Hawks are just really weird in this show. I can't get with it.
Yeah. And while that's happening, in the meantime, Sarah and Captain Cold and Heatwave all go to a bar.
Yeah, and they leave Jefferson in the ship because he's a kid, which is just kind of rude.
Yeah, also, like, he didn't ask to be here, and now he's just being like, oh, you have to sit. You have to just sit here. It's fine.
Yeah.
But we do get a whole backstory about Vandal Savage and the fact that, like, he's also connected to the Hawk people and was in love with Shaira, and so now it's even more complicated. And
oh yeah, apparently the only reason he's immortal is that when he kills the Hawk people, he absorbs their life. It's weird, but it's only the Hawk people. He can't kill anyone else. He just does that for fun,
I guess. And, like, I don't care about him. And I don't care about any of these people. I'm not emotionally invested in anybody.
Yeah, the actual story isn't really fun at all. Like, they mention offhand that Vandal Savage caused World War I and convinced the dude to kill Archduke Ferdinand, and, like, that would be fun if the show framed it as more fun, but it's all, like, dark and gritty, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it's like dark and gritty, but, like, not in any way that makes any sense. It's just, like, it's kind of just, like, we're putting our wheels down and just pushing forward because we just got to get through this one, everybody. Like, there's not, like, usually there's, like, one character that's got some levity or brings some levity to it. Like, and I think, like, Captain Cold and Heatwave are the best part of the show, but they need somebody to play off of. Every single other person here is, like, a straight man.
Yeah.
And, like, they don't have, like, a fun, like, person to bounce off of. Like, even if we just added, like, Constantine now.
Oh, like, that would be a lot better, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love Constantine. I especially love Matt Ryan Constantine, because I think he's really great at it. I really enjoyed the Constantine television show that ran for 13 episodes on NBC. For what it was, but I'm glad that he found a place in this show at some point. So yeah, this whole thing just kind of seems like a mess. Like, they go to, like, the other team goes to the bar. Obviously, Sarah's a loose cannon, so she gets in a fight.
That was probably the most fun of the issue, which is when some dude starts, like, hitting on Sarah and won't say no. And then she's like, no, but I like your girlfriend, and then starts beating him up. I liked that.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. She's like the best part. Like, yeah, she's definitely the best part. And everything from there. Oh, we forgot to mention that probably comes up right about now, actually. The Deathlock-esque time cop Kronos that is hunting the team.
Yeah, when they left the present day to go to 1975, two random dudes saw the ship leave, and then Kronos killed them. And now he's in 1975, too.
I don't know anything about this. Is this a real character?
I have no clue. I'm not well-versed in DC's time travel stuff.
Okay. I'm gonna peg it as a CW original idea, and go from there. Because I don't know. Like, they're like, let's, again, with the costumes, like, this guy doesn't even look cool.
It's like, just like a weird bodysuit that looks kind of armory, but not in a cool way. Yeah,
it looks like someone, like, was trying to cosplay the Predator, but, like, it didn't come out quite right.
What he needed to be dressed as was Strife. Just all the blades.
All the blades. That would make it immediately better. Like, if it intersected with, like, Marvel's timeline for some reason.
It would.
It really, really would have. And then we just go from there in regards to getting back on the ship and trying to escape. And now that we know what Vandal Savage can do, now we're trying to leave, but this guy is shooting us, so we can't. The old man's son gets shot.
Yeah, there's a big team action scene, and, like, they're all using their powers and they're all working together, but old man's son still gets shot, so...
Which, I mean, you should have seen a mile away. You can't just adopt a full-grown man. Like, you can't just take him with you.
Yeah.
And then we get a confession.
Yeah, so Rip reveals that Kronos was sent by the Time Masters because his mission is not sanctioned by the Time Masters, and he stole the ship. Which, like, oh no, who could have seen that coming?
That was such a swerve. Man. Oh, and then he goes to explain that, like, his wife and child, who were the woman and child who died in the beginning of the episode. Like,
yeah, he gives them names that I don't remember.
I don't know either.
He's like, Vandal Savage killed my family, so we need to stop him. And then they're like, but what about the whole pitch you sold us? And he was like, oh yeah, you're not Legends. I picked you because in the future, no one will care if you're gone.
Listen, I'd be out at that point.
Yeah.
Like, I would just be done. I'm like, see this? No, it's not happening. Yeah, that was extremely rude.
It's not good. And then the old man finally dies after being mortally wounded. And then Kendra is suddenly like, yeah, you know what? I think I actually like this Hawkman guy who's been creeping on me for the entire episode. I'm gonna get with him.
Yeah, let's do this. My old man son told me some things, and now I am madly in love with you. Oh my god. It's like, it's so not good. It's just not great.
Yeah. Oh, and then the young Firestorm guy forgives the old Firestorm guy for literally kidnapping him, and then says, I played football and you work as a team. But, like, no.
I forgot that line. No, that's not how you build a team. You can't, you and I both know, you can't build a team without trust.
Absolutely, yes. This is true.
You can't do it. I trusted you once. I don't think I can do it again. And then they go to Norway.
Oh, yeah. And Vandal Savage is like, he says a bunch of poetic stuff, and then he gets a nuke, and that's where the episode ends?
Yeah, and that's where you stopped watching.
Yeah, so this is a 2-part pilot, but I only watched the first episode because I didn't realize that at the time, and also I didn't want to watch anymore.
As you can tell from our biting commentary, we didn't enjoy this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of really weird problems, part of which come from the CW, and part of which just come from generally bad writing. Yeah.
Is this a Mark Guggenheim joint?
I honestly don't know. I think he was just working on Arrow this season, but, like, this season of Arrow was also the worst season of Arrow, so...
So there's our answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean... So CW definitely plays to a very specific audience. And I feel like if you watch one CW show religiously, you probably watch them all. And maybe just not the DC ones, but probably Supernatural. Later seasons of Supernatural. Let me put a caveat in there. And everything else. Like, wasn't the Vampire Diaries on CW too? Like,
I honestly don't know.
Like some sort of reboot of like 90210 was also on the CW. They have a very niche audience that likes this type of show.
Yeah, and like they do a good job making this type of show. It's just not really my thing, and no. I feel like this is just a CW show that dresses up as a DC show. Yeah, no,
100%. Like, you could file the numbers off of this one, and it could be like anything else. Like, you could rebrand it as anything else. You could rebrand it as like a space like a space-time adventure. Like, you could give the characters different names. Like, there's nothing. And maybe that's because I don't know the characters super well, but if you have a knowledge and you're just like, yeah, I'm not into this, I have to assume that there's not a whole lot of meat on the bones here.
Yeah. Yeah, the best part is really the, like, characters who are most comic accurate, which are Cold and Heatwave, because they're just delightful, and everyone else is just really dull and boring, and there's not really much to, like, grab onto and not really much to see why anyone likes them.
Mm-hmm. I should tell you that in the second episode, or the second part of the first episode, however you want to frame it, they go to Norway. They sneak into an arms dealer thing to stop Vandal Savage from getting his weapons. They have a confrontation. He confesses his love for Shiara. He kills Hawkman. Absorbs his power by what looks like breathing in mist. And then stabs her. And then they take her back to the ship. And then that's it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So nothing was gained from watching the second part.
Yeah, I mean, Hawkman died. That's something.
That's something, yeah. You gotta give him that one, right?
Yeah.
Another missing member of the team.
Yeah, but he is the weakest link, so it all works out.
True. And you know, the way that the Hawk costumes are, how they have this like big opening in the back for the wings, like, could you not try to make it cooler than it actually is? Like, that's pretty rad. Like, those helmets, like with the beak, you can make that so rad. And it's just like, nope. It's not.
Yeah, and the CGI wings are real weird and hard to look at sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Real hard to look at. So nothing was gained or lost by not watching the second half of this, so.
Alright, well that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's another show to not continue, I guess.
Yeah, you could, I mean, if you wanted to watch Hawkman get stabbed. Oh, there's this very overwrought, like, close your eyes and remember back to our love together.
Oh,
and because it's the show, she does, and then she remembers him in Egypt bringing her a dagger with a terrible poem on it that's like 3 lines that rhyme. And she reads them, and she's like, that's beautiful. And I'm just sitting here like, how does pro wrestling have better writing than this situation happening right here?
Yeah. I almost would rather watch Rusev do whatever he's doing right now. Almost.
Oh boy. Would you rather watch that, the clip from SmackDown where Baron brought out that dog mascot with Roman's shirt on?
Oh, that...
Like, kids, I'm not sure what's happening here, but okay.
Yeah, that's what's happening in the WWE right now.
Yeah, go back and watch the WWE from, like, 2012.
Yeah, that's some very good stuff right there, I can vouch.
That is some very good stuff. While we're on the topic, and I'm sorry, Dan, but this is just was going to happen. What's the last thing you watched from back then?
I'm still on WrestleMania 29. I haven't watched all of it yet, but, like, I'm getting through it.
Okay. It's a long show.
Yeah, I got sidetracked because I bought Death Stranding, and now I just keep playing that game.
That's very fair. Apparently it's very fun.
It's very fun. You can make Norman Reedus go to the bathroom all the time. That's, like, just a thing that happens because that's the kind of game it is.
And I like, doesn't he have a special blood? He's got special blood, right?
He's got very special blood. You make grenades out of his blood.
Okay. Thank you, Hideo Kojima. Thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you for your putting your talents out into this world so we may consume them.
Yes.
Big fan of Hideo Kojima. I love the Metal Gear games.
Real big fan. Yeah, he's probably my favorite game person ever.
Yeah. WrestleMania 29 is good. It's not as good as 30, so I'm excited for you to get to 30.
Yeah, like, the Rock John Cena stuff is okay, but, like, we all know what's going to happen because it's 2019, and one of them is still very popular, and the other one's in movies.
Yeah. Neither of which, I mean, I guess The Rock did show up on SmackDown for its inaugural Fox.
Oh, yeah, and he made the weird STD joke about Corbin.
Oh, I didn't watch that, and I'm happy that I didn't. Now that you said that, I also, I mean, let's be honest. Punk should have main evented WrestleMania 29. but he did not, which maybe led to him, I don't know, leaving the company in the fashion in which he indeed did leave the company.
I'm not looking forward to whenever Punk goes away, because even though he's a jerk, I love watching him do everything.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. So you're, like, in the middle of, like, Undertaker stuff with Punk, right?
Yeah. He's awful. I love it.
Yeah. No, that's some really, really interesting stuff there, and it's really hard to believe that it's, like, there's a bunch of good Shield content, but they've only been around for, like, not even that, like, long amount of time.
I love the whole, like, the Shield is undefeated because they work together thing. Like, it could be cliched, but instead I just love them a lot.
Yeah, and at this point you're, like, you were supposed to hate them because they were just running roughshod over everything, but you couldn't. I think if Dean wasn't there, I'd probably have hated them, but he's so charismatic. He's so into it. Yeah, it just, like, oozes off of him. It is honestly a reason to just, like, watch. I don't know anybody that would, like, is into wrestling and you would show like him talking to the camera doing promos with, and they wouldn't, like, be immediately sucked in. It is a good skill to have, and a lot of times you don't have, like, the mic skills, but you're a good wrestler. And if sometimes you have the mic skills, but you're not a good wrestler, but Dean is both. So
yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I really love just their whole, like, they start ganging up on people and it's like a pack of dogs just destroying someone. Mm-hmm. It's like, it doesn't look like there's any technique to it, but there obviously is, and it's amazing. Yeah, like, watching their tag matches is really cool. Like, watching the things that, like, Dean and Seth do together, and watching the things that, like, Roman just does on his own. Like, it's just very good. Yeah. And they start, when they start breaking out into, like, it won't be for a while, but obviously, like, you know, the stuff that comes up, and it only gets better. Like, yeah, the entire time after Seth betrays them with Dean is, like, amazing. Oh, God, I can't wait. I've seen the promo they made when they first reunited, and, like, I think it's the best promo the WWE's ever done. Oh,
the one that I posted where it's like, I knew a guy who looked like you once. He was a liar, a cheater, somebody who would stab somebody in the back. Yeah, that entire situation when they came back together, like, because wrestling forgets about the past a lot. So you don't really get... I'm so sorry, Dan. You don't really get... like, you don't get, like, callbacks, or, like, somebody will turn from heel to face, and then all of a sudden we're all supposed to be, like, cool with it. Like, yeah, it's like, oh, you're a good guy now. That's fine. But when
the best part for me is the callback to when they did the video from an undisclosed location when all three of them were back together. Yeah, and they're just like, they tried to tear us apart, but we don't break. Yeah. Oh, and God.
And, like, that entire promo with Seth and Dean, it's like, no, like, Dean remembers what you did. He's not going to forget. Like, yes. He won't, he does not forget. And it's like Seth being like, hey, you know, I've moved past it. What's it going to take for you to move past it? And, like, him standing in the ring, like, begging Dean to hit him with the chair. Like, oh my God. Like, one, that's, like, the gayest thing I've ever seen. And two, it's like, I don't know how much of that was scripted, but I feel like it wasn't. Like, it's because it feels, like, very real. Like, and them as the tag, like, them coming back together and winning the tag team belts and being tag champs for a couple months after that. That's, like, probably my favorite period I've actually, like, explored. I haven't gone...
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's so good. It is just, like, them kind of just being, like, a team again, and, like, just, like, bouncing off each other, and it's very good. So I'm excited for you to get to that point, but everything before that's really good, too. As long as Dean Ambrose was in the WWE, things were okay.
Yeah.
Now
yeah, I'm liking
different.
the earlier WWE stuff too, because there's other storylines I can enjoy as well. Like, all the Daniel Bryan Team Hell No stuff is great. And, like, I feel like the further on I get, the more I'm going to start skipping things.
Yeah. You know, you always got to find that person, and, like, you're like, oh, well, as long as, like, I have this one wrestler that I like, things will be okay. But, like, WWE seems to just, once they don't know what to do with someone anymore, or at that point, like, they just kind of, like, fall away. Like, that's what's happening to Seth right now. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, he's losing it. That's really disappointing.
Yeah, like, it's upsetting because you kind of know why he doesn't have it. He doesn't have somebody to bounce off of. Like, you can't go back to the Shield. Like, you can't do it anymore. Like, they apparently won't let him and Roman play together anymore. So, because God forbid someone starts chanting Shield, when the third member of the Shield works for another company. But I am indeed enjoying Jon Moxley immensely.
He is so good. The match he's fighting Darby, and I'm going to lose my mind.
It's so good. I'm so excited for Wednesday. That match at Full Gear. What did you think of it? I didn't get to actually talk to you about it in any full time.
Yeah, this was the first death match I watched, and I absolutely loved it. Like, it was absurd, and I lost my mind when he started tearing the ring apart.
It was, oh man, I wondered how it was going to finish, and I'm glad that it finished like with like wrestling.
Yeah.
But everybody was talking about how it was violent, but at the same time, like, there was at no point where the entire match wasn't telling a story. And it's really crazy to think that, like, it can just be that good. Like, it was Mox, like, breaking out of his shell that he had been in for so long and getting to do what he wanted to do, and it told the story of, like, him letting go, and it also, like, had all the callbacks to the stuff with Kenny, and, like, how this has actually absolutely pushed Kenny to his limit, and he was actively looked like he was losing his mind during the match, which was very, very good. It was so good. Like, it even had, like, Looney Tunes-esque elements in it with the screwdriver and the
the glass.
The glass.
Oh, God, the glass.
The Die Hard, like, what can only be, like, considered as, like, a Die Hard, like, reference when John was crawling through the glass to get to the ropes, which wouldn't have even broken the sharpshooter because it was a lights out match. I don't know. Yeah,
I think he ended up using the ropes for, like, leverage to get out.
Because he pushed Kenny back and then, like, threw Kenny into the glass.
Nice.
Yeah. I haven't watched it since because, like, for hours after I'd watched it, I couldn't sleep. And I was like, I was like so excited. I was like, or it was just so good. I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen on Wednesday after? Like, because at that point we didn't know that Kenny wasn't cleared. Like, yeah. And I was just like, oh my God, is this feud just going to, like, keep going? Because I don't know how it can escalate at this point. But I really love John being like, I don't think anybody in the back can actually fight me. So I'm excited about Darby. That'll be great. Yes. I hope.
Darby wasn't the best part of the show, I have to say, because the backstage fight when they just opened the door on Orange Cassidy and close it was, I think I cried.
Yeah, that was amazing. The MJF and Jericho's, like, promo in the ring together.
Oh, I love that too, yeah.
Like, excellent. Like, I hate that Chris Jericho's as good at wrestling as he is. And when I say good at wrestling, I don't necessarily mean good at actually wrestling. There are many facets to being good at wrestling.
Yeah, his personality is perfect.
Yeah, and, like, he's blended up all of his gimmicks, like, and, like, now it is this. It's like, okay, Chris. God, I hope that, like, I do hope that maybe after Darby and Mox fight, maybe, like, Mox will, like, take Darby under his wing, and they'll be, like, Lone Wolf and Cub.
Oh my God, I would love that. Darby and Mox would get along, I think.
I think so too, which is why I'm like, oh my god, maybe they'll actually like come to an understanding after their match and be like, you know, I'm already dead. I like to kill people. Let's go. So I'm super excited about it. But Dan, this has been your wrestling corner. In your podcast.
We spent like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes on this. It was a good time.
It's fine. You know what? It's fine. And Dan probably knew what he was getting out of me. Maybe not necessarily you, but I've roped you into this. I exposed you to Dean Ambrose, and now you're infected.
Yet, nothing can be done here.
Nothing can be done. But Vishal and I didn't enjoy Legends of Tomorrow. We do enjoy wrestling, however. But maybe if you're, I don't know. I feel like if you haven't watched Legends of Tomorrow yet, maybe don't.
Yeah, I've heard the later seasons do get better. I've only seen the first season, so I really can't judge. But I've heard, like, once they stop taking itself so seriously and the Hawks leave after season 1, it gets enjoyable. So maybe try out season 2. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe watch another CW show. Maybe catch the last season of Supernatural.
Or Arrow.
Yeah, or Arrow, because it's coming to an end. It will be the last. Or maybe check out some wrestling. AEW Dynamite.
That also works.
AEW Dynamite every Wednesday. You can catch CM Punk on WWE Backstage.
Oh my god. If he doesn't show up at Survivor Series, I don't know what they're doing.
I don't either. God, you have Survivor Series in Chicago and you don't have CM Punk come?
Yeah.
Like, oh, and also, why didn't you just wait for Survivor Series? I don't know. I feel it's kind of like they squandered it a little.
I think Fox wanted to bring him out specifically so they could get the pop instead of WWE getting it on a pay-per-view.
I agree, but I think the best way to utilize CM Punk without having him be, like, under any, like, having to, like, do anything that Vince McMahon or Hunter wants him to do is to, like, bring out CM Punk at Survivor Series at the very end and be like, you know, I work for your benefactors, and they've brought me here because they think your show sucks. And,
I'd love that.
You know, now I'm in charge. Like old, I don't know how much older wrestling, like 90s wrestling you've watched, but they did that. They do that a lot, where it's like someone would like get like fired or something, and then they'd come back as like the commissioner of the whole WWE. So it'd be like,
God, that's wild.
Like Mick Foley got fired, or like he had to retire. Like Hunter beat him in a match, and like a couple weeks later, like he came back as the commissioner. Like, and it would be amazing if CM Punk just showed up and was like, "Yeah, Fox thinks the show sucks and the ratings are going down, so now I'm in charge." Like, that'd be beautiful. Couldn't have done that. Sorry, I don't work for you, WWE. You can't have my ideas. But sometimes I do put them out into the open by speaking them, and they just occur. So I'm putting that out into the world. Putting it out there. But, that aside, this has been an episode of Supersons brought to you by Wrestling and the CW. So, go consume either one of those products. In the meantime, if you like to hear me speak, you can find me at Genetic Ghost on Twitter, where I talk way too much about random ass things, mostly to do with Mox or Ambrose. They are the same person, just really not the same person. I don't know how you disambiguate that. I'll try. And you can catch me writing articles over at XavierFiles.com, covering the new Excalibur series that comes out, I'd say monthly, but I think it's more than that, or will be more than that.
It's however much Marvel wants it to come out.
Yeah, exactly. You can find other things that I write on my Twitter page, too, and my podcast, The Young Ones, which you can find at Young Ones Cast on Twitter.
Yeah, and I don't have a podcast, but you can find me at vgola87 on Twitter, and I sometimes have a blog that I run called Retcons and Reboots, where I just write about reading obsessively and how bad things are and rank the new 52. And you can find that at retconsreboots.com. And I think that's it for me.
All right. And your Marauders articles.
Oh, God. Yeah. I write on XavierFiles.com as well about Marvel's Marauders, which is an excellent book that you should read, and also read our articles about it. And sometimes I write for AIPT. And
yes.
Now I'm done.
Yes. Yes. And you can hear me and Vishal talk about probably wrestling some more if you follow us both on Twitter. But in the meantime, until Dan and Jake get back from their erstwhile sentencing, this has been Supersons. Thank you for listening.